All right, so now we're recording. Use your podcast voice, so to speak.
What is a podcast voice?
I don't know, man.
I guess I got to figure it out.
You got to figure out what your podcast voice is.
My normal voice. Do you think other podcasters, like, that's just how they talk?
No way, dude. No way.
None of them.
Absolutely not. They
persona.
all have podcast voices.
Well, I don't know what that entails. Maybe I should go calmer.
You think you have a calm podcast voice? I mean, do you have a calm normal voice? It's just like your voice.
Someone yelled at me yesterday and said that I was being really loud. Maybe I am loud.
You know what? No, you know what?
So,
I have a fucking line for this. Normality is a well-paved path, but no flowers grow there.
I saw that.
Be yourself.
I saw that.
Fuck these people, man. Honestly.
This is my podcast voice!
This is
my podcast voice!
Right then, laddie, this is my new podcast voice.
We're gonna be talking like this.
We're gonna be talking like this the whole goddamn time. If you don't like it,
the whole bloody time.
If you are an emotionally unstable person,
Don't listen to this podcast.
this is not the podcast for you.
No.
Or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't really
If you have any kind of illness or anything, it's probably best that you turn away now just to be safe. Because we don't have liability forms. I mean, how do you do that? Mind you, this is not informational. This podcast is not informational.
No,
Mostly everything we do is either a Google search or what we believe things to be.
We are two dumb guys who know something.
So if you say, hey, did you know this? And then when they ask for sources, don't fucking quote us. Do not quote us.
I'm telling you right now, if you enjoy
if
looking...
we get a fucking lawsuit
because
you...
If you enjoy looking intelligent in front of your friends, do not quote us.
When did Subway convince literally everybody that eating a loaf of bread in one sitting was healthy?
Right before they tried to convince everybody that being a pedophile was okay.
Jesus Christ. They did.
Too racy.
Well, he was
Too
no
racy.
longer the spokesperson. A heavy-handed. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but they didn't speak out against him.
Well, I'm sure you could find like a tweet, maybe condemning his
Twitter
action.
wasn't around in 2003. I don't even know how to say
What
it.
are you, a Twitter expert now? Let's see.
Let's see. Pull it up. Give it a Google.
Yep, I'm
You know
doing
what?
it right now.
Computer
See,
right here.
another Google search.
I'll give it a little Google right now.
The Google.
When was Twitter?
Yeah, no, I got that. When did you say he was a pedophile? When was he a pedophile?
2003. I don't know, man.
2003. All right, well, this was founded March 21st, 2006. You got the back end of that. When he became a pedophile.
I'm looking up when Twitter was.
I just told you.
Oh, Twitter came online in 2006.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
I don't remember how to spell his name, so I'm going to type in Subway
Jared.
Spokesman.
His name's Jared from Subway.
But how many Jareds is there?
Jared from Subway.
Okay, I guess there's only one Jared from Subway.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people are named Jeff, but if you Google Jeffrey Dahmer.
No internet connection. What the fuck happened here?
No internet connection. Alright, well, it's up to me.
Oh, that's strange. What happened to my internet? Just to wrap up this subject, apparently Jared was convicted in 2015. Twitter was founded in why do I keep saying 2006? 2006.
Either way, eat shit.
So the basis of this part is I'm a fucking idiot that doesn't know timelines.
Boom.
And it was 9 years in between Twitter
And that was discovered
and Jared. But
October, what's today? October 18th, 2020 at approximately 12:09, Clay was found to be a fucking idiot.
All right, podcast over.
A few episodes, it's not going to work. We're going to fall out. In 10 years, I'm going to...
So this is going to last. This is going to last
this
what?
Is the first and last.
First and last episode.
The rise and fall of Let Me Ask You. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have a falling out, and in about 10 years, I'm going to get a message from you on Facebook. And it's going to be you saying that you have the deal of a lifetime for me.
Listen, Jacob, my friend. I know that in our past we haven't seen eye to eye. and I'm asking you to forgive me. More importantly, I'm asking you to forgive yourself. Okay?
Oh my god.
I want to teach
That's
you
it.
6 easy steps
Oh my
to take your life from
God.
garbage can, some other can idiom that's better than garbage. I don't know.
And all it takes is $10.
And all it takes from you.
The secret-
So here's how it works.
The secrets to
Hear me out.
happiness.
Hear me out. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's a multi-level management company. Okay?
Yeah, that's
You
it.
sign up
Yep.
for $50 today,
Right.
right?
That sounds good. That's
Yeah.
not a lot.
And it's not a lot of money, you know.
Yeah, right.
I could probably only like 25 of it, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you 25. You pay 25.
Yeah.
You're only 25 in the hole, right? Now you turn around and while you're selling the product, right?
Yep.
You get other people
What
to
product?
sign up
Do
under
I sell
you.
happiness?
Yes. We
So wait,
sell.
not only do I have to be under your implore, but I also have to become a guru myself.
No, you will use these products because
Like a book?
yeah,
Okay.
right, like
Yeah.
a journal.
So
okay?
what?
So
Like,
I'm not selling you a product. I'm selling you self-awareness and a happy life.
that...
You ask me, Clayton.
That's
I know we fell out a long time ago, and when you got on this meditation kick, meditation every day, and our podcast fell out because you were like working on yourself or whatever.
And I'm here 10 years later to sell you happiness.
I'm here 10 years later, and you're telling me that I should meditate, and I don't know why. And I'll tell you right now, it makes you about 10% happier.
10%.
How would
Studies
you-
have shown.
How would you like to be 10%
This is
happier
clinically
for
proven.
$25?
Yeah.
And every person that you sign up underneath you,
Yeah.
you get a percentage of
Wow.
their buy-in.
So I get to be the boss of my friends.
How would you like, by this time 6 months from now, to be driving a Tesla? Because that's what's going to happen.
Well, I would probably just get like a Ford Focus.
It's very ego efficient. it's very economical.
Yeah, just,
It's very economical.
it's affordable.
Stop. All right. Well, now we got to think of an intro.
Yeah.
Sup, bitches? We're gonna jump right into it. That's how we start. That's how we end it. Welcome. Hey, what's up?
None of what we just said was recorded, right?
Oh, all of it was.
All this is being recorded.
All of this.
Wow.
Every
We
minute
should start.
from the second you
So
walked into my flat.
this is why.
all of this is
Yeah.
being
So
recorded.
this is why when you call companies, they said this call is being recorded.
You didn't read the disclaimer.
I didn't.
Well, it's on the door jamb.
Oh, is it
Inside of the door jamb.
inside of it?
Inside of my
Yeah.
black door jamb, there's black letters
I didn't. Where's the?
in 6
I didn't even
print.
see the door
You didn't look at it.
Yeah. So it's my fault.
So why is it my fault that you didn't observe your
That
surroundings?
is. You're not. You're right. It's
You
on-
should have
No.
been. You should have been more self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here, and that's why
That's
you need
why
to
I
buy
need-
into this
that's-
company.
yeah.
I'm telling you.
I was on the fence, but now I'm sold because of my own failure. I'll take an E on this one and say that if anybody's interested in employment, I just happen to come across something. So go ahead and hit me up.
It's not a pyramid scheme.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's listen. I'm all level with you. Do you want to be happy? This isn't about business. This is about, do you want to be happy? If you just answered yes to that question, then forget everything else. Just hit me up.
Forget everything else. All your
Forget-
responsibilities, money management. Don't worry about it.
So welcome
Let's
to
see what other
the
notes I have.
podcast. Start a podcast. I'll go unzip some fucking bags behind the wall. That's
I found the long cord. I found a longer cord.
there you go.
Okay, on a new track, here we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let Me Ask You podcast. Today we're here with Jake. And
What
we're,
up?
We're going to talk about social pressures and at what age during young development do social pressures start to affect you. Jake's going to talk about why we picked this topic. We're going to give a little bit of background on what we know about the topic, and then we're just going to share our opinions. We're going to fuck around.
Yeah, pretty much. Disclaimer. Clay and I don't claim to know anything. We don't claim to be intelligent individuals. So mostly everything if not everything that we say, is going to be based on something that we think that we might have learned or something that we simply Google searched. Either way, though, I think that we're all in for a fun time today.
And as a backup to that, I have a friend who is a life coach and has a bachelor's in psychology. So
Yeah.
I would like to, when we do episodes like this, do a part 2
Yeah.
and get her
Is
opinion.
He part of your?
She,
Is she part of your pyramid scheme?
yes.
I fucking knew it. She's your employer. See?
Yeah, we sell happiness here.
There's always a bigger fish.
All right, well, social pressures. Let's talk about it. What are some social pressures?
Well, just starting.
Maybe that,
I'm gonna be
that we have
honest.
experienced.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know jack shit about social pressures. I mean, I can go through like stuff that I've experienced and stuff. I have a little sister, right?
Sure.
Just jumping right into it. 7 years old. And every time I see her, because I'm not home often, she has completely changed, for better or for worse. She's still young, so she still has time to figure it out. But who's she around all the time? Like, she's not around the family 24/7. So who's she with? She's with her friends at school. She's with her teachers and stuff. And the more that she learns, the more that she expresses the stuff that she learns in a home environment. And sometimes I see that she picks up the personality that aren't her own. It might be some kid at daycare or just someone that she happened to come across, like when she was at the park or something. You know what I mean?
So relationships.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like friendships.
Yeah, I think that has a big... You definitely, in your upbringing, you definitely are influenced by who you pick as your friends, right?
Absolutely.
And while you might not, like, be as they are, you definitely tend to inherit tendencies of theirs. You know what I'm talking
Sure,
about?
like habits.
Yeah.
Things that they do.
Yeah.
I think, there's a lot of pressure on everyone to perform from a very early age. You look at... I have school-age children, and I have one 5-year-old and a almost 2-year-old. And you look at the school system that we currently have, and it encourages like doing a good job, for instance, right? And it really puts a spotlight on students that do a good job, as it should. It should,
Yeah.
Kindergarten, for example, you can count to 100.
Wow, you could count that high in kindergarten?
Well, I can't count that high now. But my children are pretty good.
Yeah, I remember when I was in school and I was taking math. I don't know what grade. I was probably like the 3rd grade or something. No, it had to be. Surely it had to be before that. Because I thought that 2 + 3 = 23 in the 3rd grade.
Listen, in 3rd grade,
there's a fucking problem.
I grew up in Texas, right? In 3rd grade, I had a first generation German immigrant math teacher. Okay.
Wow. She didn't get an education in Texas.
And I was terrified of math. Okay. We were doing times tables. Do you remember times tables? It was a sheet of paper.
Yeah,
And it had the smallest. It had the smallest little numbers on it,
Yeah.
and it was just filled from left to right, top to bottom, with like simple multiplication. And I'm talking like 2 times 3 is 6, right? It's 6, right?
You gotta do a double take.
Like this is the kind of PTSD I'm dealing with from this German math teacher, dude. And she was angry. She was always angry, and it terrified me.
Miss Heinschel wasn't...
She said, "Hello, dude," which means, "Hey guys, time to do." Except it sounded like this: "Hello, dude." I was terrified, man. I didn't do well in that math
So
class.
that could be a social pressure.
I mean, she expected us to do good, and she was very authoritative. And I think that...
So, Clay's not good at math because when he was in the 3rd grade, a Nazi yelled at him to do math.
A Nazi,
And
maybe.
he was scarred, making him the man he is today. Social pressures.
Social pressures, man. Social pressures are an extreme. Even growing up, there's things that I do now as an adult that I enjoyed as a child, right?
Yeah.
But I stopped doing because they weren't normal, I guess is the word.
Yeah, totally.
Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I think so.
Like the people that I was around weren't doing them. So I was like, oh, that's not what people do.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I was very outdoorsy. Like I always wanted to, like we'd be out in the front yard pretending.
Okay, first off,
sticks
can we
were
just say
guns.
that when people say, what do you like to do in your free time, saying hiking and camping is not a personality trait. Okay.
It's not.
Hashtag we went
I'd
one time
rather
last
be
year.
hiking.
Hashtag we went one time last year, okay? I really enjoy hiking and camping. Bitch, when was the last time you went hiking? Once. Well, in the fall when the weather's nice. Then you're not a hiker.
4 years ago, I went to Colorado to visit some family.
You got
There
these,
were mountains.
you got these fucking monsters climbing mountains, okay? Those guys, they enjoy hiking.
I'm outdoorsy. Has a fucking blog.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Has a blog, needs a constant internet connection.
Oh,
God.
Dude,
Maybe that's a social pressure. You know,
dude, they're
Everybody's-
all any interaction that you have. I feel like pressures you in some kind. Like every single like interaction you have has some type of influence on you, right? Whether it be towards something that you hold as a belief or just like an opinion that you have on someone. Every social interaction is going to have a different effect on you.
Sure.
Right. And going back, like I would be like, I played baseball for like 7 years. I only wanted to ever be outside. Like you could not catch me inside unless it was like dinner time or something. And then the more I grew, the different friends that I got, I became a fucking recluse, hiding out in the
Introvert
darkness,
by choice.
hanging out in the darkness all hours of the day, you know.
Sure.
And now I'm no longer with
That
that
friend
group.
group, yep.
I guess. I mean, they're still friends, but I'm just not
Sure,
around
sure.
them, right? So now I've picked up a new group of friends, and these group of friends do different things, so they're no longer. So I'm no longer having that like very secluded, hide in the dark type of personality. You know,
Sure.
it's more outgoing, more let's go do something.
Well, I think I don't think that the world and how we do things in life needs to be so rigid, right? Like the term best friend. I don't have a best friend. No offense. I have friends.
All right, guys.
that I-
This wraps up my time.
Well,
here.
that's the end of the podcast. How many times are we going to say that?
I'm looking at the door. It looks good. Right about now.
So I have different
I
friends
need water.
for different things.
Oh.
So, like I was saying, before someone had to get water,
I don't know who that was.
I don't know who that was. I came.
Keep it
prepared.
down.
Hey, shh. So, like, I have different friends for like different things, you know.
Yeah.
Like I do this thing, this podcast thing, and with you, you know,
Right.
and other people that are interested. I do Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of people are like, "That's weird. You're a nerd." I mean, I have friends for that.
Nice invite.
Okay, rude. First off, you've been on
Nice.
you've been on vacation for 2 months.
Oh, okay. You know what?
Okay, that was the wrong
That
word.
was all right.
That was the wrong word, and I
Let's
apologize.
just let's gloss over that. Nice invite.
Okay, very well. Nice invite. And I have friends that, like, when I need a deep conversation at 2 a.m., I go to those friends, and we have these deep emotional conversations. I'm not an emotional person. It's not something that I show to everyone. But I think that your friends can be as fluid as you make them if you have the, like, strength, like fortitude to not get bogged down by other people. I think that's something that we should teach to children early on, is to be your own person.
Yeah, I think it's hard though, especially with how malleable you are so young, and how quickly you're like released into the world to be on your own. Like you are taken care of this and the third, but in terms of like your social development, you are pretty much on your own, right? And so I think it might be hard to try to identify with who you really are when you're constantly receiving these interactions from all fronts.
Sure, and I
Just
can
being on your own probably has
I mean-
a big. But I mean, like, it's not up to anybody to tell you like who to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's not set.
It's
like,
for you to explore.
It's not set in your DNA of who you're gonna be, like what you're gonna like. This, like, it's obviously up for you to decide that. But being like, if I hung out with you 24/7, right? I'd probably be a different person than if I hung out with someone else 24/7. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying? And so I think it can get confusing. Because when I was in school, probably when you were in school too, right? Like you just thought everyone was your friend because you were always like surrounded by hundreds of people, so you just had someone to talk to, right?
Yep.
And then you go and you be in the adult world, and now you realize you have like 4 friends.
Yeah, and what's
Maybe.
big about the adult world is the culture that you're in, right?
Yeah.
The culture that we're in might not be the same culture that someone else is in, and so they develop different. Because I think that people are still developing well into your 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. Because by the time that you're out of school and you're off doing your own thing, you're still
Right.
trying to find who you are.
But by the time you've been through school and you've surrounded yourself by all these people and friends forever, you've effectively not had a molding that's solid. Your molding has shifted a bunch.
Yeah.
And then when you're an adult, now you have to figure out, what do I want to do with my life?
You have to do it pretty fast too.
Well, I think
There's
I think that you don't. I think that even into your late 20s, it's okay to not know what you're going to do with your life. But I think you need to have a general idea of where you want to be, right?
Okay. Well, there's another one because you're taught that you have to make this decision. You have to make it now.
Absolutely, you are.
And you're also taught that there is they'll tell you what's right.
Right.
Like the
Yeah.
people that
You have to go to college. You have to go get a degree.
these you have to do this. You have to do that, telling you what is right and what is wrong.
Yep.
Instead of you trying to figure that kind of stuff out, right? And then when you do make these decisions, people still tell you like, oh, you should have done that. You should probably make this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
And with every decision that you make, you push yourself into a culture that is more exclusive, right?
Mhm.
Like there's not all kinds of people in your culture that you're around every day. You won't get free-minded people in some cultures. You won't get rigid people in others.
Yeah, and it's never cut and dry.
Yeah.
Like that'd be ridiculous. Like doesn't come with a manual or an
And
instruction.
I
book.
think you touched on an interesting topic. Like you are responsible for your own self-development, and I think it's important.
But people heavily influence that.
Right. And I think it's important for us to teach young minds like, hey, you will be influenced. Every interaction you make, you give a piece of yourself and you say, this is me. So it's not for us to mold people young. It's for us to explain how you're molded to young people.
And it's not. And I just school is probably honestly the heaviest influencer and where you try to identify with who you are the most. I think that's where its most rampant growth is. And when the system kind of it holds you down. It really does, because it's always about like that what is right and wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? And they do try to conform you to be a certain type of way. And I think that hurts self-growth.
Absolutely. I agree with you. When we say this is the way it is, this is the way it will be, this is what you need to do, it hurts the positive self-development to living a healthy adult life.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about the dangers of social pressure.
So, is it dangerous then?
Are social pressures dangerous?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the form in which they come.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I mean, think about when you started drinking.
I would rather not.
Like when for me, okay, I started drinking, I want to say I was 15, maybe 16.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems like.
And
the
I
right
drank.
age.
I drank because I was around like friends that drank.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't have drank
Yeah.
if they wouldn't have been there to help convince me to.
Yeah, and I still don't drink, like, except for socially. I think that
If the social pressure is a bad habit, then maybe. But I also think that other than physically, straying away from who you are as a person can be, mentally bad for you.
But I mean, at that point, it'd be up to you to correct that.
Sure. Up to yourself or up to your guardian.
Well, let's say at this point the pressures have already sort of shaped you to who you are, and you're well and out on your own. At that point, well, how would you correct it then? So if these influencers are no longer in your life, but they've already had the impact onto you to where this is your set behavior, how do you go about fixing it?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you know.
Self-awareness is a big part of it. Whatever you do to be introspective, to invest in your self-care, right? You at some point in your life, you have to define your value.
Right.
At some point in your life, you're going to be at a point where you don't have a lot of influences on you, or you don't like all the influences that are around you, all the pressure, and you're going to have to sit down and you're going to have to think about, maybe write down. I know some people like to work out, and when you're working out your body and your mind. You're thinking about what you want in life. I think it's important for us to sit down and really think about, what are my values? What do I believe in? What are my personal boundaries?
what is
Yeah.
over the line.
So I think in that sense, it can be dangerous if what you know falls back to the fact that you learned negative behavior.
Right. But I think it's important to remember that
Well, yeah.
you have a choice and that it's your own choice.
Yeah, clearly you're capable of identifying problems within your personality that you can address.
And it
But
just,
I don't think that makes it any less dangerous, though.
no, I don't think it.
Right.
I don't think it does make it any less dangerous. I think it makes it more manageable. You know, I think that it's important to recognize people that are closer to where you want to be. Right. I think it's important to have people around you, and hopefully somebody influences you at some point, and you say, "I like this about that person. That person is happy. I wonder what they do. Maybe that will work for me." For me, it's meditation, right? And meditation is different for everybody. You know, that's my time.
You know, speaking of that, right? How you said, you know, this person, like this person's happy, this person's doing that. I'm gonna take after that. Think about all of the absolutely horrendous role models that especially kids have today.
Yeah.
It's kind
I
of
mean,
scary.
in the media, on social media, kids that are interested in politics, you know, there's a lot of bad thinkers. There's a lot of things that we see as adults and we say, that's not really tasteful. That's not good for you. But as a child, you think, wow, this song that talks about, you know, demoralizing women has a really sick beat and I really vibe to it, you know? Like that's all you're worried about as a kid. You're like, oh yeah, I'm vibing to this song. Me and my homies hanging out, you know, throwing back some beers.
Yeah.
You know? And you don't realize at the time that that's a pressure on you.
Can you imagine when kids now, like say like 10 years old, when they're like 70, and they're just like, Grandma, can we listen to music from back in your day? And she throws on some wet ass pussy.
Yeah, it throws on the lap. And you're talking about certified freak. Whoa, don't copy strike us. Sorry.
Oh,
what
God.
example are we setting for our children? And I think a lot of people nowadays don't think about that, or they just realize that too late in the game.
And don't copyright strike because pussy's a noun.
Absolutely.
That's not, you can't own that word.
You can't own that word.
Right.
You can own that noun, but you can't own that word. I think it's important to moderately isolate yourself, right? Isolation equals elevation. I think it's
Right.
important to find your time to yourself, invest in your self-care, know your values, know your boundaries, know that you have a choice and that it has to be your choice. You when you're developing, and I think a lot of development takes place in young adulthood. There's a fair amount of development in childhood, but I think it's pretty malleable on how it sets, right? When you start having to make adult decisions. And it starts at a different age for everybody. I won't say there's an age to it.
No. They're,
I started defining myself as an adult probably around 16, 17, the same time that I started having these negative influences. And I spent a lot of years in my early adulthood living a negative life because of it. You know?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of years in my young adulthood unhappy. And it just so happens that now I'm around young people often.
you're able to see what it's like
And I'm able to see the other side, you know.
Yeah.
More recently, you know, I figured out, I saw the flip side of a coin with the behavior that I used to do, and I saw how it affected other people. Recently, I met those people that it was affecting, and I felt really bad. I felt really, really bad because I was the negative impact on someone else, and I can't take that back, you know. I can apologize, but what,
Yeah.
you know, what good
And,
does that do?
You know, in a sense, I don't think that it's something that you should take guilt in. Because, like we said, it's up to that person to not fall into this idea that they are who they are because of the way they were brought up, right? Because you can still identify, hey, this is pretty fucked up. Maybe I shouldn't do that. And then work on correcting that. I can see where you're coming from, though, saying
Right.
that in the event that someone doesn't turn it around and doesn't identify these problems and they want to blame, just for example, you, then maybe... I still don't think that would be your fault, though.
No, I don't think so.
Because at a certain point, like,
But I think
that shouldn't be your excuse, right?
But I think that's a sizable setback for that person, you know? And I think it's important that we notice that and work to building a better environment for everyone. Because it's our responsibility. All these negative social pressures that put people in places where you think to yourself, oh, it would be better if I wasn't here. These people wouldn't be affected like this if I wasn't here. Well, if we set a better environment with positive social pressures, then maybe we can curb ever getting to that place to begin with. I don't think it's my fault. I think it's my responsibility to do better in the future.
If
that makes sense.
No, I'll agree with that. That's coming from a better.
Because I learned those
perspective,
traits,
then.
you know. What I did in my past, I learned that trait from someone else that did it to me.
Yeah.
And it's just how I knew to do it because I was pressured in that situation.
But you didn't let that define
Right.
who you are.
It defined me for a while, but now that I'm investing in my self-care and I'm making my own decisions about my morals and my values, I can look back and say, oh, that's not a good place to be. I don't want to be that person.
I mean, it's like social pressure is one thing, but then like what is deemed like socially acceptable, I think is, I guess no, that could still fall under pressures.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're setting social norms, then we're pressuring people that aren't normal in that social way.
Yeah, but that's not any one person. That's as a society, like what has been concluded.
Sure.
Like everybody can agree that it's not right to kill someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, sure.
You know what I mean?
I had this talk a while back, and it's murder is bad. We know that, right? That's
today's message.
That's pretty common in today's world, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's helped that is that we're all connected in a broader sense because, you look back and that wasn't always the case. And in some remote places of the world, it's still not the case. In some, remote place where cannibalism thrives,
Yeah.
that's how they eat. Murder's not bad to them. Socially, as a world, murder's bad.
Right. So then you take the same society that is telling you murder is bad. And mind you, murder is a pretty extreme example. I will say that.
Yeah, okay.
But let's say that the same people that are telling you murder is bad also tell you plaid shirts kind of suck. And you're like, well, they were right the first time with the murder is bad thing.
Sure.
Who's to say they're not right about plaid?
Who's to say that plaid shirts are
kinda
ugly?
sucks,
Plaid sucks, man. And I think that's where
I don't think plaid shirts suck, by the way.
Yeah, as a disclaimer,
They're
thing.
fashionable in the right
Season?
setting. I
Setting.
don't even think this season. I
setting
think
maybe, yeah.
as long as you're pulling it off.
I mean, sure. As long as you're not wearing it every day.
Wearing plaid is not a personality trait.
Yeah. Can we just all agree? Can the world agree that wearing plaid is not a personality trait? You're not special.
Oh, you ever seen like people like in their Tinder profiles and stuff, like with the
Oh, they're the...
with the
Okay, so mind you, I haven't
the
been on...
plaid shirt, and
I
they're
haven't
like
been
they're
on-
leaning up against a tree.
Mind you, I haven't been on Tinder since probably 2011. Which is when Jared from Subway was still not a pedophile.
Oh my
So like,
Jesus Christ!
so what I remember from Tinder and what is Tinder now are probably two separate things.
Well, Tinder for me is just kind of looking at ads.
Is there ads on there now?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been ads.
No, there wasn't ads when I was on
There
Tinder.
wasn't ads.
No.
Does only my Tinder have ads?
I don't know. Hey,
Does anyone else's Tinder have ads?
hit up our Twitter account at lemmy_podcast and let us know if your Twitter
Does your
has
Twitter
ads.
have ads?
Take some screenshots. I want to know what these Twitter ads are, what these Tinder ads are all about.
It's like here's a really attractive person. Swipe right. Boom. Raid Shadow Legends.
That's another good example, though. That's another good example, though, is ads and pressuring us to spend more time on screens.
Speaking of which, today's podcast is sponsored by Raid Shadow.
No, we don't have not a sponsor. Not a
Raid
sponsor, but hey, Raid Shadow Legends, if you're looking to reach a really niche group of people, like 50 to 100
You can
people.
level up your characters and fight an epic battle.
I will admit that I do have Raid Shadow Legends on my phone. I have played it one time.
How many playable characters are there?
I don't know.
200 playable characters.
Wow, you're
you.
a Raid Shadow Legends expert.
I made that up.
Oh.
Was it believable?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I believed it. Maybe I'm just an idiot.
We established that earlier. See? The Nazi did this to him. Look at what they did to my poor boy.
To me.
So yeah, advertisements are evil. Let's talk about that.
I think that society has a lot of good and negative pressures, and it comes back to you have to be cognitive enough to separate what's positive and what's negative. I am not a naysayer of screen time. I think that screen time in young development and in early adulthood is very important because you will not get a job in today's society that does not require you to be on a computer at some point. You will have to know how electronics work. You will have to know something about screens. It's a very important part of today's world. So I think that teaching our children at a young age how to operate these machines and how to be comfortable using them is important, but to an extent. I think it's important to monitor what pressures are coming from those screens. You can learn a lot on
Information's
the
at your
internet.
fingers.
Information is everywhere, and I believe that information should be free to everyone. There's also a lot of negative, and you have to be able to sort through that. And luckily, that's stuff you don't have to do alone. You can always talk to somebody about it. Like Raid Shadow Legends, you can always talk to me and Jake about that, and we'll tell you it's a great.
I think that's an important
great
part
app.
of early development.
And I think that it's important for every child under the age of 4 to have Raid Shadow Legends installed on their
if they
tablet.
don't, your kid's a fucking loser.
and both their parents' phones. Raid Shadow Legends, really hit us up. I'll hit you up on Twitter.
Yeah, you suck for breeding that child, and I hope the bloodline ends with that child.
Oh my god. Took a dark turn. We just talked about murder is not socially acceptable.
It's not, but I didn't say I was going to murder anybody.
Well, it sounded murderous.
Well, maybe malicious in nature, yes, but, I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just saying that when the time comes, there just shouldn't be anyone left. That family
there
tree.
should be no one left in the entire world that does not have Raid Shadow Legends on their phone.
Well, yeah, that also.
I feel like they'll sponsor anybody too. Like, if they're on Tinder,
Raid Shadow Legends. If you want to sponsor us,
hit us up. I'm about to PM you on our Twitter.
Yeah, so
I'm about to PM your Twitter real quick. Yeah, I think that.
What is it though, right? Because you look at a billboard and it shows you some fucking new game that comes out or something.
Sure.
And immediately that has an influence on you, right?
Absolutely, and really on our young minds, especially with the next gen consoles coming out, the new Xbox, the new PlayStation. Also not a sponsor, but also interested.
We drink water too. In case any water companies.
Hey, Dasani, hit us up.
Oh yeah, we'll talk the good talk about.
We will sell our souls.
We're both drinking it right now.
Yeah, Hydro Flask. Let me know. I think that in young child's minds, that's a big thing. That's socially pressured to play video games, socially pressured to be good at video games. And then this ad comes out preying on those social pressures. And I really can't think of any other words for it than it's pretty fucked up.
It is. Advertisements are evil.
I agree with you.
Do you remember a time before advertisements, Clay?
I do. I am significantly old. I am pretty old. I do remember a time when advertisements weren't everywhere. And it was great. Like, you didn't really know.
And how far we have fallen. Because I remember, my dad had this fucking massive TV. This show had to be 100 pounds.
The box TV, right? Yeah, I loved them. They were great. It was projection TV and everything, yeah.
Yeah, and it was heavy as shit. And I remember that when we saw commercials on that TV, everything was so well put together and thought out. And it was so interesting. It was when your show was done and the commercials came on, you didn't even leave because the commercials were good.
Yeah.
And now, it's just
It's a video.
There'll be a woman that approaches your screen and says, "Buy toothpaste, Colgate," and then it'll go on to the next thing.
And she smiles and she's got big boobs, and then you want to buy Colgate.
Yeah, but back in the day, it would show a guy brushing his teeth. Something
Getting ready,
simple, right? Just everyday hygienic thing you have to do to be liked. Okay, brush your teeth.
Don't get me wrong. I think the ad industry.
He'd put it in his mouth, brush around for a few seconds. He'd fucking grow wings, shoot lasers from his eyes. He'd fly up to fucking heaven. He would fight God himself and reclaim heaven as his own. Buy Colgate.
That is ludicrous for sure, and I think that ads.
If I saw that, I was like, "Do I got a chance at that? I'm gonna go get some fucking Colgate. I'll eat it. I'll eat the whole fucking tube."
I think that ads have always been bad.
At least they put effort into it.
Cigarettes are great because you look at these cigarette ads and they have to make laws about
you don't even have to make ads.
You can't show cool people smoking cigarettes because then kids are like, I want to be cool because that's a social pressure.
I don't even remember the last time I've seen a cigarette commercial.
Yeah, I think it's just social pressure now. It's
word of mouth.
It's
word of smoke.
They got us, man. They got us.
Dude, there's like 13-year-olds smoking cigarettes.
Honestly, and the Juuls and
Oh, the vaping?
oh
that
wait,
doesn't-
wait, Juul does not like people talking about Juul. Sorry, Juul.
Sponsor?
Don't don't fuck us up like you did Slappers Only, okay?
Oh my god.
God, Slappers Only made one Juul video, and Juul was like, "Take it down."
Well, I don't know anything about that. I don't use Juul, nor do I keep up with Juul drama.
No, me either. I just like that
Oh,
channel. I mean, I have a vape, but it's not.
But
a
vaping,
Juul.
dude, we don't even know what those things do to you.
I mean,
Like, how do we know? And
there's been left and right studies done, and I think it's all what you choose to believe.
yeah, how do you know in 10 years you won't be a woman from huffing in all that juice?
In 10 years,
That
I might be
pineapple-
a
What is
woman.
that? Gummy mango.
This is gummy mango. There's no brand name on it. It just says "Made in USA." So like,
You're just gonna be.
Came
you're
from
gonna
Tim's
lose
basement,
all
I
your
guess?
Hair. You're just gonna be this.
well, my hair's gonna be gone
Leathery.
in 10 years anyway.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Have some faith.
It's about making decisions and knowing that they're your own or
As long as you
genetically
identify that the
impossible
decision is your own, then that's fine.
or genetically impossible to avoid.
Well, I think no, that's not vaping.
no, that's not
My
vaping.
DNA strand actually conforms the letters V and N for vape niche.
Vape Nation.
It's quite literally in my blood.
So social pressures are real. Social pressures are early,
Can be dangerous.
can be positive, and are your responsibility.
Yes.
You have to make sure that you invest in your self-care. However you do that, invest in your self-care. Know and set your own values.
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth.
And I don't think, you shouldn't go around worrying, right, that you are hurting others with your decisions. But just don't be a dick.
Just be cognitive of how
Like,
your
know-
choices are affecting other people.
When you do something, know what you're doing and know why you're doing it.
Sure.
Don't just fucking do things.
Yeah,
'Cause
don't be an anarchist.
Some fucking 8-year-old's gonna be like, guess what I saw that guy do? And then he's gonna try to do a backflip off of
10-story
a
building.
bench, and now he has fucking.
Now he's crippled,
He's
And he
par-
can't play Raid Shadow Legends because his hands don't
He's
work.
paralyzed from the C3 vertebrae below.
Oh.
Alright, that's a little extreme. You're
That's
not
a
going to
little
go around paralyzing 8-year-olds.
No.
But in the event that you do, don't feel bad. Don't feel
I
bad.
mean, feel bad about paralyzing an 8-year-old. If it was directly your fault, feel bad about that.
I think if
I think it's
if you are past the point where you physically are paralyzing an 8-year-old, you're past the
you're
point.
fucked.
Yeah.
You are fucked. But also,
I
don't
think
feel.
feeling sorry for it is the least of your worries because you just paralyzed a fucking 8-year-old.
But also, don't feel like it's not okay to be angry or upset, because anytime you take an introspective look at yourself and you start defining yourself as a better person, it's going to hurt. Changes hurt, and that's okay.
That is okay. Be yourself. Let the pressures affect you. Have fun, but don't change who you are. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just be you. You want to cry? Cry. You want to get pissed off and punch a pillow? Then punch a pillow. If someone's like, hey dude, that's weird that you punched that pillow, then you fuck them up.
And the most important thing that you can do is follow us on Twitter. Hit us up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Pretty much anywhere you get your podcast, go and find us, okay? We're desperate. And come back in 3 to 4 days for another episode.
Look, this is our first episode, and it might be our last episode, but it's up to you. Go support our Patreon. We don't even have one yet. Someone help us set up a Patreon.
We don't have a Patreon. Someone help us set up a Patreon.
And by the way, if you're feeling extra frisky, you might be able to convince us to get an OnlyFans. I'm just saying, I approve.
Hey, Clay and Jake OnlyFans?
Holy shit.
New business venture?
Welcome to the Clay and Jake OnlyFans. $6.99 for the month.
We might be naked right now. You don't know.
Our lips are very close. We only have one mic.
Get the OnlyFans and you'll find out.
All right.
We had a good message and it turned so fast.
We had a great message.
It turned.
It started great.
Well, before that, it started kind of childish. Then it started great, and then it got really good, and then it was good and bad, and now it's just bad. And we're going to be back in episode 2.
Look, we're figuring this out, but hey, we're going to keep doing it. If you stick with us, it'll only get better.
We promise laughs. What did I say in the intro?
Yeah.
You will laugh.
You will.
You might learn
If
something.
you don't laugh, that's you. That's not
on you.
us.
Yeah.
That is not us.
You found that offensive? I'm sorry.
You
don't
think
have a
you think
funny life.
paralyzing an 8-year-old's mean? Fuck you.
You found it offensive. I found it funny, and that's why I'm happier than you. Catch us in episode 2.